Welcome, baseball fans, to the American League Championship Series, the ALCS for 2019. Game 1 is already in wrap, so let's go ahead and review and recap what happened there, and then we'll get into the rest of the series here. Game 1, home field advantage, Houston Astros. You got Zack Greinke going up against Masahiro Tanaka, the Yankees. Everyone's and the Houston Astros fought for home field advantage because like New York, they feasted on home field. It was their sweet spot. But however, having to go through 5 games and using Cole and Verlander just to get past the Rays, you now are in an awkward situation where you can't use either one for game 1. So you can't put your best foot forward. However, you got Zack Greinke, your number 3 starter. You don't have much of a choice but to go to him as your de facto, because you don't want to go to Miley, and Verlander and Cole aren't available. So let's see what happens. Maybe the friendly confines of Minute Park will be just enough to help Greinke navigate the dangerous, lethal New York lineup. Let's see what happened here. And well, both pitchers went 6 innings. Big difference in the results, though. I realize that Greinke has a little bit of an anxiety disorder. He's made that publicly aware in previous years when he was talking about going to big market teams like the New York Yankees, where he just doesn't want to go there. And during the trade deadline, Houston got him because Greinke had a no-trade clause in which he was going to, a partial no-trade clause, in which he said one of the teams he would not wait that for was the New York Yankees, so they were out of the mix on Greinke from the get-go. And you can see why, because you're going into big games here. He didn't necessarily pitch horribly. It's just that, like so many storylines this postseason, Tanaka just pitched absolutely phenomenally amazing. See the national storyline between St. Louis. Their first 2 stars, Anibal Sanchez and Max Scherzer, were just phenomenal. The St. Louis pitchers weren't bad. They were just outclassed. And the same thing here. Tanaka going 6 innings, a 0.0 ERA, 0 earned runs, gets 4 strikeouts with 7 flyouts, 1 ground out, while Greinke goes 6 innings also, but he gets a 4.50 ERA, gives up 3 earned runs, gets 6 strikeouts, so he outdoes Tanaka on a strikeout count, but only gets 1 flyout, which is the complete opposite of Tanaka. Tanaka goes 7 flyouts, 1 ground out. He goes 1 flyout, 6 ground outs. So overall, not a horrible performance. 3 runs or less, 6 innings is still considered a quality start in Major League Baseball. But when you've got a quality start versus an absolutely dominant start, booyah, baby, New York takes the game. Now, some notables here. You got Ottavino, Britton, and Chapman was warming up, but the score was so out of control they let Loiziga go with a short leash, and he was just as dominant as you can ask for. Between the 3 of them, they go 3 innings, 0 earned run average, 0 earned runs, 2 strikeouts by Britton. On the flip side here, after Greinke yields 3 runs, when I saw this, they brought in Presley in a 7th inning. Now, Presley, just to be fair and put facts forward, during the course of the regular season, he goes 2-3, 2.32 ERA, 72 strikeouts, and a .90 WHIP. He's having a good year. He's a solid bullpen pitcher, and if you got a choice of Presley is like your tandem of Ottavino and Britton here. He's going to get the job done more often than not. He's a reliable source, he's a trusted source. When you need to get outs, he'll get them for you. However, the Achilles heel, the kryptonite of Presley, is the New York Yankees. In relief appearances he made both in the regular season in Houston and in New York, Presley was giving up runs, whether it was a small ball or home runs. They had his number, and this was no exception. 2/3 of an inning, 27 ERA, 2 earned runs given out, and only 1 strikeout. Now, it didn't help much on the same 7th inning. Center fielder Springer has a throwing error that allows on Torres's double. 7th inning, Torres' double allows 2 runs to score. So that didn't help. At the same time, when I see Presley come in, this is like when I saw Martinez coming in for the Cardinals. I'm thinking, okay, good pitcher, solid pitcher, but it's feast time, baby. Time to take advantage of this baby. Because, I mean, I'll tell you what, I was giving Martinez a hard time, but fundamentally, he did get better and he did show his true colors later on. Presley here, however, has not shown the ability to actually get Yankees hitters out, regular season or postseason. If you're going to Presley, you're giving up on the game. With all due respect to Presley, I'm sure he can figure it out what was wrong with him, or it's going to be end of a short season for the Astros. So, having said that, I also wanted to give credit to our closers here, because fundamentally, when you've got a tandem of Paxton Severino, Tanaka, bullpen days, plus you've got openers with Chad Green, filling in some inners with CC Sabathia. On this side, you've got Verlander, Greinke, Cole, potentially Miley. You've got the starting rotation to make this a late inning game, barring a collapse or taking advantage of the starter by either getting some of those early runs or wearing them down or bring up his pitch count to get him out of the game. Most likely, these games are going to come down to bullpen. And when it comes to bullpen, you've got very equal closers here. Osuna, 66 games, 38 saves, 2.63 ERA. On the flip side, Chapman, 60 games, 38 saves, 2.21 ERA. A hair better on Chapman's side. But overall, you still have highly competent closers on both sides there, which brings us back to our middle relievers here. Your Presley's and company on the Houston side, your Ottavinos, your Brittons, your Levezicas. Both teams have a solid, very deep teams, 25-man rosters. So you're really getting kind of nitpicky when you're looking for weaknesses here. However, if you want to give an edge, you got to give an edge to the Verlander-Cole tandem in starting pitching, and you got to give an edge to the Ottavino-Britton-Chapman bullpen for New York. At the same time, it does come down to execution and managing the game. As Dave Roberts of the Dodgers can tell you, you mismanage your bullpen, say goodbye. All right, so fundamentally, the Houston Astros got completely shut out between Tanaka and the tandem of Britton, Ottavino, and Levezika, giving him 0 runs for the whole game. Doesn't matter how good your team is, if you don't score a run, you can't win a game. Having said that, the scoring goes tit for tat to the 4th inning to Torres, using a double, gets 1-0. Torres in the 6th inning, home run, 2-0. Stanton gets in on the action with a home run for his 2nd home run of the postseason, first one against the Twins. He gets in on the action, 3-0, New York. Then we come to Presley in the 7th and George Springer Stringer in the 7th. Torres, double, 2 runs, score, 5-0. Ursula gets in on the action in the 9th inning after the game is so far out of control. It's just like, are you kidding me at this point? Where he adds another home run. Torres grounds out LeMahieu scores, making it 7-0, and there is your final score for Game 1. The storyline of Game 1 has been absolutely starting pitching, and starting pitching is going to dictate this whole series. I did pick 7 games, and I did pick Houston to win in 7 games, and we'll get into that in just a moment if we look ahead to future games. Storyline of Game 1 was Tanaka time. Absolutely dominant. You can't ask for anything better. And I'll go into why they pulled him out in the 7th inning. Okay? Then Labor Day. Going 3 for 5, 1 home run, 5 ERAs. A performance only topped by Matsui of the 2009 Game 6 of the World Series, where he rings up like 6 or 7 RBIs to drive home the World Series against the Philadelphia Phillies. So he had a phenomenal day. Whether he's going to be able to maintain that throughout the season remains to be seen. But he definitely put on a show, and for the time being, took away home field advantage from Houston. Why do I say for the time being? Because now that you got 1-0 in Minute Maid Park, even if the Houston wins Game 2, you're going back to New York, tied up 1-1, brand new series with 3 games set in New York. Why do I say temporarily? Because even though, theoretically, if New York was able to capitalize on games 2 through 5 and use those 3 games in New York to close out the series, then yes, they've taken away home field advantage from Houston. But who's kidding who? This is not ending in 5 games. This is going to go back to Houston in Game 6 and Game 7, where home field baby is what Houston has wanted from day one. And that is where it comes into play. Game 6 and Game 7. Never mind what happens in Game 1 and 2, because Houston can always turn the table and take a game or 2 in New York. 6 and 7 in Houston is your home field advantage right there. Okay. So, we've covered what happened in this spectacular Game 1. It was offensively heavy, although rather lopsided, but strong pitching performance. To say what you want about Greinke, he did do a solid job, and in any middle season game, you would take that hands down, no questions asked. Tanaka goes 6 innings, and while he's on fire with a 0 ERA, a very, very low pitch count of 68 pitches, why did he take him out? Here's 2 reasons. 1, taking a look at Tanaka throughout the course of the season, he's got a 2 and change ERA the first turn through the rotation, a 2 and change ERA the second turn through the rotation. Third turn through the rotation, it jumps 100 some odd points to 3 and change. Therefore, you knew analytically that not only was he going to be running into higher pitch counts, but third time touring his through the order was going to be his Achilles heel. Knowing that, and knowing you have a loaded, rested bullpen, why not take advantage, shut the door, game over for Houston in Game 1, bring it home for New York. Seal the deal on the home field, or on that Game 1 victory. So could he have? It's entirely possible. But if you've got this at your disposal, and you've gotten everything you could ever dreamed of, why take an unnecessary chance? Analytics show 7th inning, 8th inning would have theoretically been his undoing. He did a phenomenal job. Pat yourself on the back. Go get a shower. You've earned every accolade possible for a phenomenal job. Well done, Tanaka. That's why, despite his wonderful performance, you take him out in the 7th inning and you bring in your bullpen. A bullpen that is nothing short of lights out. It's not too far apart from having 3 different Mariano Rivera's. They're just phenomenal. They're lights out. They get the job done. Plus, you got so many options in the bullpen. If one of them has a bad day, next guy in there, short leash. You saw that in Minnesota where they would bring out Davina in for 1 whole batter. 1. I mean, they have that luxury, so why not use it and make Tanaka look good instead of risking a tiring or bad performance third round through the rotation? So, on that note, let's go ahead and take a look into the rest of the series, because now that you got Game 2 in Houston and then it shifts to New York for Games 3 through 5, let's take a look. You've got Paxton going Game 1, or Game 2, Severino Game 3. What you're looking at here is most likely a bullpen game in Game 4, because while Tampa coined it and was built around the bullpen game, New York did not exactly have a shabby bullpen experience. They got like 14 wins out of like 16 or 17 tries during the regular season. They were quite successful in the run right with the bullpen idea. Now, depending on what happens in Games 2 or Games 3, you could see Chad Green start that. You could see Sabathia start that. You don't know. But that would be an ideal day to put your bullpen to the test and try to bring home a win in New York. Then you've got a normal rest, reset of Tanaka in Game 5, Paxton Game 6, Severino Game 7. Yes, you're putting all your eggs in the basket on Severino in Game 7. You're hoping he can do it, but that in it lies why I have Houston in Game 7, because you're going to have Severino versus Garrett Cole, and you saw what Garrett Cole could do against Tampa Bay Rays. He was lights out, and he brought it home in Game 5. I expect nothing less from Cole in Games 4 Game 3 and Game 7. Because I see Verlander and Cole, much like the Schilling-Johnson tandem of the 2001 Diamondbacks. They won Game 1 and 2 in Arizona, and they went to New York. Neither of those pitchers were available. They lost 3 straight in New York. Come back home, Schilling and Johnson brought it home for Arizona. Yes, granted, you can go into the whole ninth inning with Mariano Rivera blowing a 2-1 lead. I get that. But again, not everyone's perfect, and fundamentally, you were in that position because you had a 1-2 punch that was absolutely phenomenally lights out. Having said that, Verlander had his very first career start in Game 4 of the Division Series against Tampa on short rest. 3 days, mind you, and it did not work well for him. He's going to be coming into Game 2 on 4 days rest. It's a day shy of his normal 5. I get that. At the same time, he still has had 4 days rest in between starts. Granted, he's also going up against James Paxton here, who has had a phenomenal September. He's gone over 10 games straight winning. It's going to be a phenomenal pitching matchup here. I'm giving the edge on the series for both Verlander and Cole starts in favor of those two, because they have earned that right with their absolute dominance in regular season and in postseason. Do I think that Paxton and company can overcome that or take advantage of the fact that he's not in technically a full rest of 5 days? Absolutely no questions asked. They could absolutely go home 2-0, given that Verlander is technically on a short rest. However, I'm going to give Verlander the benefit of the doubt in this game and give the edge. It's probably going to yield to bullpens, and therefore all bets are off. If you bring in Presley, it's going to be a New York game. If New York doesn't come, if they manage to break through against New York's bullpen, it could go to Houston. I'm giving Game 5 to Verlander here, and Game 6 and Game 7 for Cole, and Game 3 for Cole. I'm giving those to Houston because of how powerful that tandem is. Can you beat them? Yes, but it's extremely difficult to do so. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I would love to eat it. But tell me who isn't picking Verlander and Cole to be that 1-2 punch to just take care of the games for Houston there. On the flip side, I am going to go ahead and give Game 4 the bullpen day to New York, because when you got Game 4, Miley or whoever they start, I definitely trust New York's bullpen over whatever random starter you're going to have for Miley there, because Greinke's would be on short rest. You're not going to pitch him short rest. You're not going to give Verlander or Cole short rest there. You're going to go to Miley or somebody else in Game 5, and that fundamentally, absolutely, hands down, favors New York any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Then we come back to Game 5, where you have a rematch of Tanaka versus Greinke. And fundamentally, this is also going to be in New York, and Greinke is better at home. Therefore, hands down, no questions asked, Tanaka Game 5. Now, while I did give Cole and Verlander the edge in Game 6 and 7, you've got Paxton and Severino going for New York, and anything can happen. Do I think that Paxton can win one of his 2 starts? Do I think Severino can win one of his 2 starts? I absolutely do. But when you're doing predictions and you're doing forecasting here, fundamentally, I have seen a lot more historical precedents and a lot more proven starts and postseason ability in the 1-2 tandem there than I have in Severino and Tanaka. Severino and Paxton. Now, I am absolutely fundamentally giving Tanaka both his starts. No questions asked. He's been a workhorse. He's been phenomenal both this season and previous seasons. In fact, during the last time that Tanaka faced Houston was Game 5, 2017 ALCS. Ring a bell, anybody? Tanaka was lights out. He shut down Houston. What did it matter? Houston still took it in 7 games. Spoke to a Houston fan of mine, and he said, I don't care how many games the Houston Astros drop as long as they win the series. Fundamentally, I do not see Houston winning either of the Tanaka starts. Sorry, buddy. It's just not going to happen. Especially when you got Greinke going on both starts here. His best chance was Game 1, and he just wasn't up to par against Tanaka. Game 5 in New York, not going to happen. Right there, not going to happen. So, here we have it. We're going to have Game 2. I'm going to give... Houston's going to tie it 1-1. Games 3, it's going to be... Cole, so we're going to give Houston a 2-1 lead. Yes, that game 3 is in New York. I totally get that. Fundamentally, game 4, all tied up, baby. Tied 2-2 behind the bullpen of New York. Now you've got 3 games left, games 5, 6, and 7. Game 5 in New York, game 6 and 7 in Houston. You've got game 5. I'm definitely going to give New York the edge there. Tanaka over Greinke, yeah, come on. It's definitely going to be a 3-2 lead, and where does that bring us? The exact same place we were in 2017. Going back to Houston, New York up 3-2. They've gotten the 3 wins. Now, what are you going to do against Verlander and Cole? Unless you have an answer for those 2 on regular, normal rest, it's game over in New York. Having said that, I have shown through my bracket, throughout the postseason, I have been wrong time and time again. You can put your best guesses forward, you can put your best analytics forward, but fundamentally, it's the players who play the game that decide how these games go. And when you put it that way, with these teams, the 2 best teams in baseball left in the playoffs, and 2 Titans in the AL, this series could go either way, but I do see 7 games. If it goes 6, I think it favors New York. If it goes 7, I absolutely think it favors Houston. Fundamentally, I think the New York's best chance to win this would be to close this out at home in Game 5 in New York with the bullpen going there. Because if you give Verlander or Cole a chance to come in for a second game, good luck, Yankees. Having said that, the Yankees are no slouch. Even A.J. Hinks and the Houston lineup give their utmost respect to the New York Yankees. They know they are no Tampa Bay Rays. They know that you're not dealing with your cousin's Little League team here. You're dealing with a team that has come to play, is coming for revenge for 2017, is coming for revenge on last year's ALDS loss here. They are bringing it. They are bringing it hard, and they showed it in Game 1. Houston had better be prepared to answer that, or it could be a short off season for them. So, I gave my predictions, Houston in 7. Here's the breakdown, how I see it going. Let me know what you think about what I think in the comment section below. If you just happen to be coming across this video on YouTube, please hit like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. And tonight's game starts at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. New York at Houston. Paxton versus Verlander. Let's see what happens. Enjoy the game. Look forward to talking to you next time. Have a great night. And thank you for watching and all your support of this channel.